That's your Wake News traffic.
6:46 and time for the Wink Wake Up. All you need to know before you go. And today, $5.5 million could finally be paid to companies that did business with Collier County.
And this marks an end to a long court battle between the county and Collier County Clerk Dwight Brock. Wink News reporter Stephanie Susskind joins us now live from the Collier County Courthouse with more on today's meeting. Good morning.
Good morning, Jen and Rob. Those companies that do business with Collier County are really the ones who have been suffering in all of this, owed so much money that they haven't been able to recoup just yet because Dwight Brock refused to pay them until the county could prove when that spending was approved. Now, the county and the clerk did come to an agreement last week, just hours before an emergency hearing was scheduled. Commissioner Georgia Hiller says the board always approves spending tax dollars, but Brock disagreed with the county's purchasing laws. Wink News has learned that the past due invoices, thousands of them, total about $5.6 million. So county commissioners will meet here at 10 o'clock this morning, and they'll have to actually approve that agreement they came to last week. Once that is approved, the clerk's office will have 3 days to pay back those vendors all of the money they are owed. You can count on Wink News to keep you updated. Reporting live in Collier County, Stephanie Susskind, Wink News this morning.
The Wink Wake Up continues now with our other top stories we're following for you all morning. Today, Congress begins its 60-day review of the nuclear deal with Iran, and some Republicans are already vowing to reject it.
Secretary of State John Kerry and Energy Secretary Ernest Moniz will be meeting with lawmakers this coming week, trying to get them to accept the deal. Meanwhile, the United Nations Security Council has scheduled its vote for this morning on a resolution that endorses the Iran nuclear agreement.
A NATO airstrike hit 2 Afghan military checkpoints overnight, killing at least 8 Afghan troops and wounding 5 others. It happened in the Logar province, which is about 30 miles east of the capital of Kabul. Afghan officials describe it as due to bad coordination in an area where Taliban insurgents are apparently very active. A U.S. military official in Afghanistan said that they are aware of an incident in the Logar area. They are investigating it. Count on Wink News to bring you the latest as we know more.
Today, banks in Greece are open for the first time in 3 weeks, but customers are still restricted to withdrawing no more than $65 a day or $455 a week from their accounts. Greeks are also paying now more for a number of goods and services, part of that parliament-approved value-added tax that increases a 13% tax on some meats, cooking oils, and other products up to 23%. Taxes on services like restaurants and funeral parlors also up in these new austerity measures.
Today, the city of Cape Coral will take up the issue of ending its relationship with LCEC and run its own utilities going forward. During this afternoon's meeting, council members will discuss spending $48,000 to continue a study into the matter. Cape Coral's franchise agreement with the utility expires next year. Cape Council members say that the company refused to answer questions about an $11.8 million project to repair transmission lines running from Cape Coral to Pine Island and Sanibel. The city says this lack of communication has been a problem for months. More than 50 years of tension finally eased overnight as diplomatic ties between Cuba and the United States resumed.
This has been a hot topic of discussion with opinions on the matter differing greatly, but it's historic nonetheless today. And Ryan Nobles is live for us in Washington, D.C. this morning to shed a little light on what this will mean in the communist country and also in the U.S. Cuba has a ceremony at the embassy there. Ryan, tell us about that. Good morning.
Hey, good morning to you, Rob. A little later this morning in this building here behind me, which has served as a diplomatic outpost for the Cuban people for many years without the formal embassy status, they will raise the Cuban flag right in front of this building a little later this morning. And there's expected to be somewhere in the range of 500 Cuban dignitaries, officials, maybe even a few celebrities that will be here as well. And it will be a celebratory atmosphere. It will be broadcast live on Cuban television there on their state-run television in Cuba. So the people of Cuba are very excited about having this formal embassy opening here in the United States, an important step as the two countries begin to normalize their relations.
Ryan, what's the plan for the reopening of the U.S. consulate in Havana? Will that happen today as well?
No, Jen. Well, they're going to open the embassy. They've got the business cards printed. There is a sign out in front of the building. But the actual formal opening of the embassy won't happen until later in August. And there's a good reason for that. It's because Secretary of State John Kerry is going to actually travel to the island nation. It will be the highest level American official to travel to Cuba in more than 50 years. It will be an important moment. At that point, that's when they'll raise the American flag and both embassies will be officially open.
You know, Senator Marco Rubio from here in Florida, he's one of many that are against these normalized relations with the communist Cuba right now. What is the reaction? Not everybody's going to be celebrating the fact that we have normal relations again.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that, and particularly where you guys are in Florida, there's going to be very vocal opposition, particularly from Cubans who are a little bit older, from an older generation, who are very much opposed to the normalization of relations. They're not happy with the Castro regime, but there's serious political opposition here in Washington as well. You mentioned Marco Rubio. He's a Republican, but Robert Menendez, who's a Democrat, who's also of Cuban descent, he's not very happy with this, and they could set up roadblocks. You know, the president can't do this all by himself. They could block the nominee of the eventual ambassador to Cuba. They could even go as far as defunding the embassy, which could make the process difficult. There seems to be momentum heading in the direction of normalizing these relations permanently, but it's by no means a closed question.
All right, Ryan Noble's reporting live for us. Thank you so much, Ryan.
Now, Wink weather on the one.
It's time now to get a check of your weather and a beautiful sunrise underway this morning.
That's your weekday's traffic. Rob, Jen?
And this morning we're going to continue our series with Captiva Cruises, where we take you out to the islands of Southwest Florida and give you a closer look at what each one has to offer.
So where's Wink now? Wink News reporter John Freeweiler is live in the Wink Wake Up with the answer. Good morning.
Rob and Jen, good morning to you. An absolutely gorgeous morning out here. You want to see what it looks like from our perspective? Take a live look out over the water. Beautiful sunrise out here this morning. We are just off the coast of Cayo Costa as we are island hopping again this Monday in July with Captiva Cruises.
Stick around to check that out. It's amazing. You know, in life it's important to be prepared, especially in the event of an emergency.
But if you're little Hadley, your solution to an emergency apparently is just one thing.
Hadley, you're on fire! Get down! What do you do in the case of a nuclear explosion?
We get down!
The IRS is coming! What do you do?
Get down!
Yes, well, if only escaping disasters were actually that simple. But she's got it figured out. She's got the plan down.
She has a plan. She's sticking to it. The mayor of Ador in Valencia, Spain, might be the smartest politician out there. He just declared a citywide official afternoon nap time.
Ooh, I like this
idea.
I like this. Between 2 and 5 in the afternoon, the locals are allowed to go home and sleep. Plus, the mayor's asking parents to make sure their kids are not outside playing and workers not working, so there's no noise during this nap time. The plan was introduced as a way for farm employees and manual laborers to take a break from their work at the point of the day when temperatures peak.
I love this idea. Imposed nap time for adults.
How does anything get done?
You know, they stay open later, I know, but maybe they have it figured out.
Maybe
we're the ones
Maybe the American work ethic is all messed up.
Perhaps. Your weather forecast, your nap time forecast coming up.